You'll be cleaning tables like him, Marcus added, pointing his fork at the adolescent busboy fumbling with a tray of dishes outside our private dining room door. That's your son's future, Alina. Minimum pay, no prospects, just like his mother. The private dining room exploded in laughter. My sister Jennifer tossed her head back, wine sloshing dangerously in her glass. Her husband Marcus reclined back in his chair, that familiar sneer painted over his face, definitely satisfied with his own cleverness. My mother patted her tears with her linen handkerchief, really weeping from amusement at her grandson's projected fate. Tom's wife, Amanda, covered her lips, attempting to conceal her grin and failing. Marcus, stop. Jennifer managed between giggles, but she was smiled. You're horrible. My son David, 12 years old, sat beside me with his book open. He didn't look up. He'd learnt years ago not to respond to his aunt and uncle's remarks. I reached beneath the table and gripped his hand once. He squeezed back. I'm serious, however, Marcus said, waving around the posh eatery. The boy barely passes his courses. What else is he going to do? At least food service is honest labor. My brother Tom nodded from across the table. Marcus has a point. Not everyone can be successful. Someone needs to perform the grunt labor. This was meant to be my father's 70th birthday supper. Dad sat at the head of the table, uncomfortable but quiet. He never interfered, never had. Alina, you should truly contemplate his future seriously, my mother said, her tone oozing with anxiety that deceived no one. Maybe a vocational school, something realistic considering his limits. David's limits. My kid, who studied college-level philosophy literature for enjoyment, who taught himself 3 languages from library books, whose limits included being too quiet, too contemplative, too unlike the noisy, flashy grandchildren my mother liked. I believe David will be absolutely fine, I added gently. Oh, Alina. Jennifer rolled her eyes. You usually say that, yet look at you. Still renting that little flat. Still doing that tiny bookkeeping job. No offense, but the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Marcus leaned closer, warming to his topic. He'd had 3 glasses of wine. You know what your issue is, Alina? No ambition. You're satisfied being average, and now you're raising David to be the same way. I'm satisfied with our life, I replied. Happy? Tom snorted. That's what failed individuals say after they've given up. The waiter arrived to take our orders. Marcus chose the most expensive steak on the menu. Jennifer got the lobster. Tom purchased for both himself and his wife without asking her choice. My mother requested the prefix menu with wine pairings. What about you, David? The waiter inquired pleasantly. The chicken, please, David remarked gently. Thank you. The chicken, Marcus repeated mockingly as the waiter departed. Even commands like someone who's given up. At his age, we know, Marcus, I interrupted. You've told us numerous times. His eyes narrowed. Excuse me, I said. We know you were excellent at 12. Star athlete, excellent grades, president of everything. We've heard it all before. Jennifer's grin evaporated. There's no need to be nasty, Alina. I wasn't being rude. I was being accurate. This is precisely your issue, Marcus continued, his voice rising. No respect, no comprehension of achievement. Look at this eatery. This is where successful people dine. This is the world David will never be part of because you're teaching him to be a failure. I unlocked my laptop bag and brought out my PC. Set it on the table. What are you doing? Jennifer asked angrily. Checking something, I said. Opening the screen, I picked up a folder. You mentioned this place, Dominic's. It's nice, isn't it? It's where people with standards eat, Marcus added. Not that you'd comprehend the difference. I clicked through various files. The ambience is fantastic. The service is great. The income statistics are remarkable. Tom frowned. What are you talking about? The quarterly reports, I remarked, tilting the screen slightly. Dominic's flagship site grossed $2.3 million last quarter. The suburban sites average $1 1 million apiece. Quite outstanding for a regional chain. Marcus gazed at me. How do you know that? Because I own it. Kept my voice level. I own all 7 Dominic stores. Purchased the chain 18 months ago via my investing business. The table became quiet. You're lying, Jennifer murmured, but her voice faltered. I clicked to another document. This is the purchase agreement. A $47 million total acquisition price. And this, I picked out another file, is the current portfolio value. The chain is now worth $61 million. My mother's face had gone pale. That's impossible. It's recorded, I said. I may have my attorney provide you documents if you'd want. Marcus's wine glass was stopped halfway to his lips. He laid it down gently. You don't have that type of money. I do really. I brought up my investing portfolio summary. The restaurant chain is simply one asset. There's also the commercial real estate assets, 6 office buildings, 2 mixed-use complexes. The stock portfolio, diversified over technology, healthcare, and sustainable energy industries. The private investments in 3 IT businesses, 2 of which are ready for purchase. Total assets under control about $340 million. This is a joke, Tom muttered, but he was leaning forward trying to see the screen. It's not a joke. I rotated the laptop so they could all see. My accounting position, as Jennifer termed it, is essentially a private asset management organization. I have 17 clients. I handle their investments and acquisitions. The modest flat David and I reside in, I own the building, all 42 units. Jennifer's hands were trembling. Why didn't you tell us? You never asked. You were too preoccupied discussing my shortcomings. The door to our private dining area opened. The restaurant manager entered. A lady in her 40s with a professional grin and an expensive-looking tablet in her hands. Good evening. I'm Claire Morrison, general manager. I wanted to personally guarantee that everything is suitable for Miss Vega's celebration this evening. The kitchen crew wanted me to relay that they're honored to be cooking your father's birthday supper. Marcus looked like he'd been smacked. Miss Vega. Claire grinned at me. Of course, Miss Vega, we're thrilled to welcome you this evening. The team has been told to deliver extraordinary service. Is there anything you need? Everything is great, Claire. Thank you. Wonderful. Please don't hesitate to contact if you need anything at all. She nodded to the table and went. My mother found her voice. Alina, I don't understand. If you have all much money, why do you live the way you do? What manner, Mom? Quietly, modestly, I enjoy our flat. David enjoys his school. We don't need to prove anything to anybody. But you let us think. Jennifer began. I let you think what you wanted to think. I answered. You determined I was a failure. You concluded David had no future. I never confirmed or denied anything. I basically lived my life. Tom was gazing at his plate. All this time, I agreed. Every family meal, every Christmas, every statement about my limits, my lousy choices, my unsatisfactory existence. I sat there and listened. Marcus cleared his throat. Look, Alina, if I said anything that appeared that looked unkind, I asked. That looked aimed to embarrass me and my children. You didn't seem unkind, Marcus. You were harsh. All of you were. The waiter returned with appetizers. The table remained hushed while dishes were distributed. I want you to understand something, I continued after the waiter went. David doesn't have restrictions. He has hobbies that don't meet your idea of success. He studies philosophy because he enjoys thinking about complicated topics. He's silent because he's thoughtful. And his future, he'll be totally fine. Alina, we're family. My mother said weakly, surely we can. We can what? Pretend the previous 12 years didn't happen. Pretend you didn't compare David to his relatives at every chance. Pretend Marcus didn't just tell my kid his future was cleaning tables. Jennifer was weeping now. Mascara running. We didn't know. You didn't want to know. You were comfortable with your assumptions. It made you feel superior. My phone buzzed. I looked at it. Excuse me for a moment. I went out of the private room and contacted my attorney. Martin, I need you to prepare something for me. A breakdown of the Dominic's purchase, the present ownership, and a synopsis of the operational agreements. Yes, tonight. Email it to me within the hour. Thanks. When I returned, my father was finally communicating. Alina, I had no clue you were doing so well. I know, Dad. You never asked either. He winced. The main meals came. No one appeared to have much appetite. Marcus sliced his steak mechanically. Jennifer moved the lobster about her plate. My mother hadn't touched her supper. David was eating his chicken, still reading his book. What are you reading, sweetheart? I asked. He showed me the cover. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's about stoicism and how to cope with hardship. I grinned. And what do you think? I believe it's intriguing. He argues, we can't control what other people believe or say about us. We can only control how we react. That's extremely sensible. Marcus put down his fork. Alina, I apologize. I was out of line. You were. I didn't recognize that I was successful. That should not have mattered, Marcus. Even if I was exactly what you thought I was, a poor single mother working a low job, it wouldn't have given you the right to humiliate my kid. You're correct. I know I am. My phone buzzed again. I looked at the email from Martin. Perfect. I opened it up on my laptop and turned the screen toward the table. This is the whole paperwork of my ownership of this restaurant franchise. This section here describes the managerial structure. Claire Morrison reports directly to my chief operating officer. The crew you see working tonight, I signed their paychecks. The menu you ordered from, I authorized those pricing. Tom had gone quite silent. That bus kid Marcus pointed at. I continued. His name is Jason. He's working his way through community college. I'm funding his education via the employee scholarship program I created. In 2 years, he'll receive his degree in hotel management. Then I'm aiming to elevate him to assistant manager. Marcus looked unwell. Jason has more ambition in his little finger than you've demonstrated this whole evening, Marcus. He's constructing something, Bernie, growing exactly as David will. Alina, please, Jennifer murmured. Can we just what? Move beyond this. Pretend it didn't happen. We're sorry, my mother said. Truly, I appreciate it, but apologies don't erase years of dismissiveness. The table went quiet again. Dessert menus were presented and ignored. Finally, Tom spoke. What happens now? Now you all finish your supper. You celebrate Dad's birthday and then you go home and us. Jennifer asked gently. Our connection. I gazed at my sister, at her husband, at my mother and brother and father. That's up to you. You may choose to genuinely see David and me for who we are, or you can continue with your preconceptions. Either way, we'll be all right. We want to do better, my father stated. I want to do better. Then do better, Dad, all of you. Claire returned as we were finishing. I hope everything was fine. It was fantastic, Claire, as usual. Wonderful. Should I bring the check to the table? Yes, please. When Claire returned with the leather folder, she put it in front of Marcus. He opened it impulsively, then froze. The total was $3,847. Actually, Claire, I replied, tonight's supper is being built to the specific visitors. Separate checks, please. Claire grinned knowingly. Of course, Miss Vega, I'll have them prepared quickly. Marcus's face became white. Jennifer grabbed his arm. Tom began to argue, then thought better of it. Alina, that's not necessary, my mother started. I suppose it is, Mom. You all ordered the most costly things on the menu. You should pay for what you ordered. It's only fair. David finished his book and glanced up at me. He was smiling slightly. Claire returned with different checks. Marcus' part was $847. Jennifer's was $723. The others were equally pricey. This is ridiculous, Marcus mumbled, bringing out his credit card. No, I answered. This is accountability. They paid in silence. My father offered to pay David's and my dinners, but I rejected. Those were being comped anyhow, but I didn't mention it. As we prepared to go, I grabbed Claire aside. The family scholarship fund I mentioned. Add additional $50,000 to it. For personnel like Jason, that's incredibly generous, Miss Vega. It's an investment in those who deserve it. In the parking lot, my family stood uncomfortably by their automobiles. Jennifer approached me, eyes red. I genuinely am sorry, Alina. I was dreadful. Yes, you were. Can we try again? Better. I glanced at David, who was observing the interaction silently. He nodded slightly. We can try, I responded. But things will be different today. I understand. As David and I drove home in our small vehicle, he finally spoke. You didn't have to defend me like Wei. Yes, I did. You're my son. I know you own the restaurant. I figured it out months ago when I saw the paperwork in your office. I looked at him. You knew, I'm observant. You taught me that. He grinned. I also knew you'd handle it when the time was right. And was tonight the perfect time? Uncle Marcus pointed at Jason and stating it was my future. That was the appropriate moment. I reached out and grasped his hand. Mom, yeah. Can we still purchase ice cream from the store close our apartment? The one you don't own? I laughed. Absolutely. We drove home through the calm streets, leaving the costly restaurant and its pricey lessons behind us. Tomorrow, my relatives could call. They could apologize again. They could even mean it. But tonight, David and I would have ice cream from Mr. Kim's corner store, walk back to our flat in the building I owned, but they'd never valued and be perfectly satisfied with our purportedly constrained life. Sometimes the greatest retribution isn't showing others what you have.